Hello everyone, this is HuskyStarcraft here, and I am back with some more StarCraft 2 action. And I did get a lot of requests for some more Terran games, so what better way to do it than to cast another game with Hero versus a Terran? Up in the top right side, it is going to be Liquid Hero, the red Protoss, and his opponent is going to be Alive down in the bottom left side. Now, I have cast a lot of Hero games recently. I've also cast a lot of Stefano games recently because I love watching these players. They're two of my recently favorite players. I've liked Hero for a long time, and Stefano has been nothing but amazing in his play and really his decision-making and all of that. So I'm going to see if I can find more games of these players. The map is going to be Shattered Temple, and at the time of uploading this, I just want to let you guys know that I'm currently rendering that free-for-all that was played at IEM. So that's going to be coming up here pretty soon. It was an 8-player free-for-all. Absolutely awesome stuff by those players. And it was some of the best players like Demaga, MC, MMA. There was a lot of players in there. So definitely don't miss that one. It's going to be going up on my channel either today or tomorrow. And definitely stay tuned for that one. So again, a lot of people did request some PvT action. So here we go. It does look like Liquid Hero not going to be walling in, which is completely standard versus Terran players. It's better usually not to wall in because the problem is that since Bio is good in a straight-up battle, you want to try and have positioning advantage with your force fields. And so if the Terran player decides to all-in attack you, you want to force field them on the ramp, get a big concave, and that's how you can hold those pushes off quite easily. So that's why you don't see buildings quite that often. And because you can hold your ramp with force field, you don't have to stop any of those pesky Zerglings from slipping on into the main. Any shenanigans like that. And is he going to put 3 probes in there? Yes, he does. So he's going for some pretty early gas. And the gateway now done. Is he going to go ahead and get the Cyber Core right away or go for a Zealot? Does decide to go for Cyber Core. And so pretty standard stuff there for Liquid Hero. Alive is going to be going for, well, it's not quite decided just yet. He does have a Marine on the way. Wanted to build a supply depot over there, but I guess he's going to have to build it down here instead, as he did have to run away from that probe. The first Marine is now out, which does mean that that probe will not be able to harass the SCV making the depot. Maybe able to get a zap off or two, but the Marine angle right there, really good from Alive, is most likely going to take out this probe, I believe. Or can the probe juke the Marine? It does look like the probe. It's not over yet. Does look like the probe. Oh, no, it decides to go inside the main base, so now this probe is definitely dead. There's really no way for this probe to escape at this point. So a moment of silence for the lost probe. Oh, he's still alive. He's like, Husky, I ain't dead yet, son. Can he juke the Marines? Oh, no, he's not going to get it. That probe is dead. All right, so Hero wanted to do one more lap around the base, see exactly what's going on. Did he spot the factory? Nope, he did not. So that would have told him a lot, but he also didn't see the double gas as well. And he did see SCVs continuing to mine off of the 1 gas. So after scouting, he already has a good idea of what is on the way. There is potential for a lot of pressure here pretty soon in the game, so he needs to prepare for that accordingly. Sometimes you will see an expansion dropped in response where you let that expansion kick in before the push out, or he may have such a good read that he knows his opponent's timings well enough that he doesn't even need to worry about it. It does look like he's going to move out with his first Zealot and Stalker, which if you see your Terran opponent going for something other than Marauders, this is something that you can really do quite easily. Just basically pressure the front. It does force the bunker, forces the Marines in the bunker, and sometimes can make your Terran player a little bit uneasy. And is he going to go for a run-by? He does have these units in position. Is he going to run by or try and stop and shoot? So far, he's opting to do the scoot and shoot with the 2 Stalkers, which does allow the Zealot inside the main base. Not quite sure what the point of not running the Stalkers in there as well was, but at this point, Alive is going to have to deal with the Zealot inside his main base. He is delaying mining on that Mule, and the Zealot does manage to get 1 kill, I believe. How many kills is he up to now? He is up to 2, now 3 kills, and almost a 4th right there. Not able to get it quite yet, though. But that was definitely worth it. 1 Zealot for 3 SCVs tends to be a pretty darn good trade, if you ask me. The Stalkers are going to have to run back home, though, because otherwise the Hellions could run on past into the main base, and no one likes having Hellions inside their main base, because that means a lot of dead workers. We do have a robotics on the way. A second gateway is following suit as well. And the expansion is going to be up and running here fairly soon. So the momentum, I would say, currently going to be in Liquid Hero's hands, since he was able to get that Zealot inside the main, see exactly what's going on, knew that there was Hellions, and knew that there was a potential for a counterattack. So any chance for these Hellions to do substantial damage is greatly reduced. I don't think we're going to see any more Hellions made for the entire game, unless he decides to go for multiple drops or something like that. But, I mean, Hellion versus Stalkers, that's not going to work out in your favor right now, Live. He is trying to to sneak by the Stalkers, but Stalkers are so good at killing Hellions because Hellions just do not do any damage to them. I mean, it's literally 8 damage, plus there's armor on the Stalkers as well, that 1 armor, so it just is not that much considering that they have 160 HP. If you include those shields right now. So what is he going to follow this up with? Well, he does have an Immortal on the way and just 2 gateways, but now that this expansion is up and running, he will be able to add on additional production facilities pretty soon. And if you're wondering why he hasn't done that yet, he has been greatly focusing on his worker production, chrono boosting out the economy and getting out as many probes as he possibly can. He is up to 35, which is going to help keep that income virtually identical. So these mules are basically having to work just to stay even because of the amount of money that Hero has invested into his economy, which you can see right here. His economy does have more invested. His technology, he doesn't have as much tech, but his army is just a little bit bigger there. A lot of people began requesting that I use the spending tab more, so I am going to try and do that a lot more. For those of you who don't know what the spending tab is, since I haven't used it that much in the past, this is what you are spending resources on. This isn't just minerals, but also your investment in gas. So economy stuff is going to be like your workers, and I believe your command centers and all that. Technology is your upgrades, your research, and all of that. And then army is obviously any attacking unit is going to be part of the army there. So we do see right now the Hellions have managed to secure that center watchtower, but there is an Immortal now out on the field, which can help destroy those Hellions quite easily. Even though they don't do the full damage to the Hellions with that bonus damage, they do basically take no damage, similar to the Stalkers. Hellions really only decent against Zealots, and even then it's not usually the best. The Observer did get taken out there by Alive. Good read by him to spot that. He is going to be going for the pretty standard Marine Marauder. This is basically the build you always see versus Protoss. I mean, this is kind of the best build, the most solid. You don't see mech very often because Immortals are just so darn good. It's so immobile that even things like Blink Stalkers can really punish a meching Terran. And the Immortal shows up and say, hey, leave my little friend alone. Pick on someone your own size. So does manage to save that Stalker as well. Army size is 80 to 79, virtually identical here for both players. Units lost, virtually identical as well. And on the units tab, quite the probe lead right now for Liquid Hero. He's continuing to just get a lot of workers here. He is now beginning to work on 2-base Colossus, which is really good at these mid-game timing attacks. It's good at holding these ones off. But you got to be careful, because if you try and use the mid-game push to your advantage to win the game, Terran players really have figured out how to stop it pretty effectively. There's the drop inside the main base. The Colossus says, "Hero, you guys want to dance?" No one wants to dance with the Colossus because you always end up dead. And it does look like the probes get a decent surround, but a lot of probes do get taken out. Taking a look at the units lost here, workers killed overall is 8. I think that he may have waited a little too long to send in this army, though. It looks like he's going to get Hero just a little bit out of position. Oh, voice crack of epic proportions, but it does look like he will do quite a bit of damage here. The Colossus is going to try and get into position. Can he kill off this army? He is going to hold out for now, but the supplies are identical, and the factory's still chilling out inside the main base. So can, I guess, kind of spot what's going on there. And is he going to drop inside the main base? No, he decides to go for the pylon snipe, which is a good idea because every building you can kill, well, the Protoss has to remake it. And not only does it provide vision over there, it also provides power and the supply. So I love when Terran players do that, sniping those buildings from the low ground. This poor factory right here, man, so far behind enemy lines. He doesn't know what to do. Nice force fields there, got trapped 3 of the units, manages to only kill 2 though. And no Zealot legs in sight for Liquid Hero. He does, though, have the Thermal Lance upgrade just now finishing a drop inside the main base. Could prove to be devastating, but he has wisely left behind the Colossus here. The medevacs say, nope, not going to do that. I do not want to tango with that Colossus as well as those 4 Stalkers that just warped in. But continuing his intense pro production, he's at 55. Even after losing 8 workers, he is managing to stay ahead in that worker count. Now, he is going to move out to the center of the map. You need to be careful at this stage of the game for Protoss. The mid-game right now, where he doesn't have that much momentum, is something that can really bite him in the behind later. Why did I say behind? Who says behind? Like, seriously, that's like a children's show word. And we do have the third base going to be going down now for Liquid Hero. We don't see a third base, I believe, out of Alive, and I think he needs to kind of take a step back and build that. Oh, he does decide to do that right there. Yeah, you just need to cut production for a little bit. I don't think he needs to be doing an all-in 2-base play, especially since both players were virtually identical on the units lost. It does look like your Protoss lost a little bit more, killing off this factory is going to even that up a little bit. And yeah, it makes it almost identical there. So, I mean, really, both players have invested in about the same amount of stuff. It does look, though, like the army going to be a little bit bigger for Liquid Hero, which isn't a big surprise because he does have the Colossus, which just costs an arm and a leg. And does look like the Colossus got to go down immediately before anything takes any major damage, but a 4 medevac drop inside the main base. You do not normally see a Terran player be this aggressive with drops, but between stim packs and the amount of damage these units are going to deal, a lot of buildings could go down. Is he going to evacuate out there? He does decide to stim. Can he escape? One medevac goes down. Another medevac could fall full of units. Not able to finish the deal on that one, but did kill quite a few units really on both sides. But really Liquid Hero coming out the loser in that drop, taking so much damage. Does decide to make another Immortal instead of Colossus. He may be focusing on Immortals a lot more than Colossus just because of the amount of Vikings that are on the field. Now, continued economy here for Liquid Hero as he is basically making a lot of probes. Is he making 3 at a time? Nope, just the 1 right now, and I believe he sometimes has them going at the expansion as well. And you got to remember, though, that even though he lost that battle, that basically lost a lot to that drop, he has his 3rd base earlier, so he's actually going to be pulling ahead in the supply if he continues warping in a lot of units instead of going for higher, you know, research, whether it's the Blink, which he does have on the way, could get Zealot legs as well. And there he goes, warping in a bunch of Stalkers right there. You do have to be careful with Gateway units versus Marine Marauder, because if they get out of position, the Blink doesn't help you all that much. So you do have to watch out for that. 2 Marauders going to be taking out a Stalker there. +1 attack is now done. What does Liquid Hero have for upgrades? He does have the 1 attack, 1 armor. We do have the 1 armor on the way for alive as well. So, I mean, really both players, pardon the pun, but both players are still alive in this game. There's really no major advantage. I mean, the units lost does favor the Terran player right now, but he's just now getting this expansion. But if he can hang on to this high yield for a little bit more than half the duration he would need to hold on to this one, then I think he will be back on his feet just fine, especially if he starts transferring over those workers. Do remember, though, that there was a recent nerf to mules in that they do not mine more resources from a high yield expansion. They do mine the same amount as they would on a low yield. I don't think that's exactly what they're called, but I love saying low yield. And so even if he drops mules there, it's not going to be that big of an advantage. But the income should start favoring the Terran player a little bit here since it is 3 base to 3 base. But I haven't really done the math, but I've seen in a lot of games that taking this high yield expansion when your opponent has the bottom right expansion doesn't put you all that far ahead. I mean, if we take a look at the income tab here, it is a couple of 100 resources ahead if you mix in those mules as well. But overall, it is about the same. So this is something that Liquid Hero is not going to have to panic about, but it's something that he has to keep in mind, where he's like, okay, I came out on the short end from that drop. I did get my expansion a little bit earlier, but he can start to catch up a little bit with this high yield expansion. Now, there was a drop down here. Did get completely destroyed, so that helps make a little bit of a buffer zone in that unit's loss. But since both players are starting to get maxed out, this is a good lesson if you're a Protoss or Terran player trying to learn StarCraft 2. A couple of matches back and forth, both players have lost a lot, but both players at around the 18.5-minute mark are starting to get maxed out, and that does include the +1/+1 Psystorm and +2/+2 on the way, plus Zealot legs. So I mean, it just shows you how basically that's the kind of macro you want to aim for if you want to be at the pro level, which you know, I think everyone wouldn't mind being a pro player. Given not everyone wants to put in the practice, but when you are playing, just try and shoot for the 18 to 19-minute mark. Of course, every game is different. This is if you go without any major losses or anything like that, is about when you should be maxed out. But speaking of maxed out, that means that these players either need to mass expand or simply put, just move out and try and crush the opponent's army. Now, all these players, or both players in this game rather, have had the time to build up the army they want. And taking a look at the spending tab, I mean, it's virtually identical. It's like 100 resources difference there on that one. The technology is virtually the same. The economy almost identical as well. So this is a tied game at this point. The only difference is the 2-2 is done for the Protoss army. The part of the problem is, though, is that he just has pure gateway units, so he's going to have to rely on good force fields. He's going to have to rely on good size storms, and really keeping this one Colossus alive isn't all that important, as he is relying much more heavily on the gateway tech. So is Liquid Hero going to push out? Is he going to go for the expansion? Well, no matter what he does, it's going to be spotted by this factory, which is still alive. Liquid Hero's got to be careful here. If this army marches forward, could do a lot of damage here, and the Ghosts do move forward. Do they get the MPs off? Taking a look at this army, the answer is no, but does storm on the Ghost right there. Snipes going down on the High Templar. And we are about to find out if this attack is going to win him the game. This is a big, big battle right now. The Colossus going down immediately, but there's way too many Vikings as there was only that one Colossus. Where is the Psy Storms? Nope, turning it into an Archon. Can Hero manage to hang on here? This army is fairly heavily stemmed. Only 3 medevacs there to heal it up. And we do see some decent storms going down. Lands the Vikings on the high ground. A good play here by Liquid Hero to blink up there to take out the Vikings. Keep in mind that they are armored, so they take additional damage versus these Stalkers. And can he manage to do this? I can't believe he's managing to hang on here. The supply is virtually identical. He's warped in big waves of reinforcements, and he somehow has managed to hold on, only needing one Colossus to do it. Part of the problem, I think, was the fact that there was only one Colossus, but so many Vikings. But the control by Liquid Hero there, managing to come out equal. Let's take a look at the units lost tab here. That is almost tied. That is insane spending, still virtually identical there. It does look like both players just dumping their money into that army, as there's not a whole lot left on the research tree. But we do have the high yield going to be going down now for Liquid Hero. Can he manage to kill off one of these bases? He wants to kill this one off before it becomes a planetary. Does intercept a lot of the SCVs though, and these Marine Marauder get intercepted by the Zealots. And if the Zealots can get up here in this mineral line, then that is going to be it for those SCVs. But the battle has swung around now to the left side. I think he EMP'd his own medevacs right there. Not sure if that was intentional or not. Usually if you EMP your own units, it's to prevent feedback, but never have I seen it done on medevacs. I think it was just a miss-EMP. And Liquid Hero just being so aggressive with this army. Such minor skirmishes back and forth in the center of the map. And, you know, usually you'll see a Protoss just trying to fall back, lick his wounds to get back in it. May lose a Colossus, and he does not. Managing to keep it alive, does blink forward here. And Liquid Hero has somehow pushed the Terran player all the way back. I cannot believe it. He even did the double expand, so he's doing everything right. It just came down to that one big battle. Liquid Hero somehow managing to hang on, which I thought for sure that the Terran player was going to end it right there. But with 3-3 now done, with the +1 shields on the way, what does our Terran player have an answer for? Really doesn't have an answer for a whole lot. He's only got the 2-2 upgrades. 3-3 is on the way, and even at the 24-minute mark, that's not too late. But right now, it does look like he's going to try and go for the planetary. If he can get the sandwich here in assistance with that planetary, he may be able to stop it, but no, not able to get a position at all. This expansion up here does have a ton of mules mining, so if Alive can spend all this newfound money that he has, maybe he can do something. He has built a Hellion here, so the one Hellion is at 0 kills right now. Oh, and decided to aggro onto the cannon. Never a good choice if you are a Hellion. And there's the good game. Oh, right when that storm went down on top of all these units. I do want to go back to that big, massive battle, really the game-deciding battle there. I'm not quite sure how Liquid Hero managed to hang on there. Was it this one, or is it a different battle? Nope, I believe it is a little bit before that. Yeah, it's going to be right here, as there is that big army in the center. And I do want to look at the statistics of this battle once it does get underway. And he pushes forward, does stem, so that was the first stem. And I'm going to go ahead and stop right, oh, it's not quite yet, or does he decide to be? Okay, so I'm going to stop it right here. If we look at the army size, it is 134 to 120, so favoring the Terran player a little bit. And looking at the spending, you know, it's virtually identical. Both players are maxed out. Liquid Hero is a little bit behind in the supply. Looking at the units here, it is only 1 Colossus, 12 Stalkers, and really the majority of it is Zealots. So at this point, as a Protoss player, you have to use those Zealots very effectively, because they're not going to be dealing that much damage, but they will be absorbing a ton from these Marauders. And I feel like the unit composition is really what hurt the Terran here, because Alive, look at this, since he had so many Marauders compared to the Zealots, if it was more Stalker or Colossus, even Archon, then the Marauders would have been much more effective. But to kill the Zealots, you really want the DPS of the Marine, which he only had 18 of. So almost double that in the Zealot count. So if we watch this in slow motion, it was really the unit composition was slightly off. Too many Vikings here. They do move forward and start taking out the Colossus. The Colossus dies immediately. And right here you can see the Zealots not doing all that much damage. So if we pause right there, then this is, I mean, just looking at it, it's now really favoring Liquid Hero at this point. I mean, the resources lost favoring the Terran. The units now down to 15 Zealots, so 10 Zealots died like that. Like that, I don't think you can hear my finger, but they died pretty quickly. And then all of a sudden, this army is not looking that great. I mean, what is a Protoss player to do here? Keep in mind, though, that Alive still does have way too many Vikings, and he does decide to land them on the high ground, which is kind of weird positioning there, but I think it was helping him on the positioning. So let's pause here now. More Stalkers have been warped in. The Immortals still at 3, and the Immortals do have quite a few kills. You gotta remember, since there's so many Marauders here, the chances of the Immortals shooting them is pretty darn good, but there is still about a 40 supply lead for the Terran player, so we're gonna go ahead and continue here and see exactly what happens. The Storm right there, pretty darn good. The Marauders eat the majority of that. Once he runs up the ramp and sees those Vikings up there, he immediately blinks up. So the Vikings are basically countered by Stalkers, because part of the problem is that Vikings usually do not have that many upgrades, just the +1. They do count as armored. So the Stalkers with the +2 at this point, +3 is nearly completed, but not quite yet. The +2 is so good. They're going to be doing 16 damage per shot. So these Vikings do get taken out quite easily. That's when the supply starts to even out just a little bit. The Vikings not even able to escape. More storms going down. And, you know, the supplies, once these Vikings get taken out, all of a sudden the supplies are virtually identical in this battle. And I believe he warps in even more reinforcements. And even right here, you would think that this army could do much better. But the upgrade advantage for the Protoss is just way too great. These Immortals just doing ridiculous damage, and somehow manages to come out ahead. And even after that battle, the supplies are identical. But looking at the Unistab here, the workers about the same. And part of the problem is that a lot of this army is just pure Ghost, which, while Ghosts are really good, they're not actually that good at killing the Protoss army. So what happened with this Ghost Ball? I'm kind of curious what happened to them. I think they get stormed is part of what their problem was. And a lot of the SCVs do die. And right here, what exactly happens to these Ghosts? They do EMP on the Zealots, but yeah, there's the missed EMP right there. And then the Ghosts do need to back out, but I don't think he has them hotkeyed. So, oh, that was part of the problem, is the Ghosts were fighting that battle for just a couple of seconds too long. And keeping those Ghosts alive was crucial to staying in the game. And a great control there by Liquid Hero. I can't believe he actually won that game. Such good control, and this is why he is a Code S player. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.